your business. So those indirect costs can include things like, you've got to rehire, you've got to retrain for loss of productivity, you've got wages that you've paid to the worker for the day of the injury, you've got wages of other workers and management for their time that their work was interrupted. You've got, excuse me, I just got a cough. Okay, sorry about that. You've got wages for providing first aid and taking the injured worker for medical treatment, and wages for replacement worker or overtime costs. I apologize, having a little bit of coughing fit. The administration that may be included indirect cost would include things like investigating, completing the Form 7s, meeting with the ministry if the ministry was involved, reviewing orders and arrangements, rescheduling, arranging for replacement staff, arranging for return to work and modified work, working through that. From an impact from workplace reputation and culture, you've got really a staff impact as well. Like, has the incident lowered any staff morale, resulting in lost productivity? You've got reputation. Were sales lost? What was their value? WSIB has launched a tool called Compass, and I encourage anybody to go out and actually check out this tool. It's on the WSIB site and it's called Compass. But what this tool does is it allows you to see anybody in Ontario. It allows you to see their injury stats. So if that information is publicly out there, just know that from a recruitment perspective, from a procurement perspective, from a business perspective, anybody is able to look at that information and potentially could impact your bottom line. A lot of our younger generations, when they're looking for new jobs and stuff as part of sort of their, recruitment of a company, they're looking at it and saying, is this a safe place to work? Well, now they can go on and look at that information. It's always a good idea to actually go in and check your own information on there as well and make sure that that data is true. The question came up, does the direct cost depend on the organization? Absolutely. So the direct cost is based off the premiums that you're paying to WSIB, and there is a new rate structure that's coming into effect as well, which hopefully will reduce those WSIB premiums, but that the direct cost is dependent upon your business. So this is just a typical sort of average cost of where the $21,000 came up with. So legal fees, potentially there may be legal fees as well. So if there's a significant lost time injury, it could result in the Ministry of Labor coming in and giving you an order against the Occupational Health and Safety Act. You might have some legal fees. You might need to do some information or get some additional guidance on a return to work case if there's any disputes or things like that, or appeals that are going on. So you can see that, to have one lost time injury in your workplace is very significant to the bottom line of your business, but it also has the indirect costs or the indirect impact for like your employee, your morale, more the softer things as well. It doesn't just boil down to the money part, but unfortunately money speaks, and it's one of those things, that you could sort of bring forth to people and say, look at the money piece of it. But there's a significant benefit to your company to have an effective injury management program in place. And the WSIB Safety Group allows you to build those programs and help impact or help manage your injury management. So the return to work program is obviously a program that employers are required to do under the under the law anyway. You have to be able to accommodate workers who have suffered a workplace injury or illness. Being a participant in the safety group really helps you manage and improve your return to work program. But by having an effective return to work program, it allows you to maintain an experienced workforce, which, let's face it, most companies out there right now are having a really hard time finding workers, right? You can get a worker in and maybe they only last a week or two, or the work's not suitable for them or anything, or even getting them into your workplace to actually have them hired is another kind of struggle. So if you're able to get an experienced workforce, you want to be able to maintain it. That's key to your business. You've got maintaining production, workflow, quality standards, all by having sort of that consistency is there. You stabilize wage and production expenses. You improve compliance and decrease litigation costs, fraud, and abuse. Decrease insurance overhead and improve morale and self-esteem. And you really do accelerate and improve the recovery of the injured employee. Getting an employee back to work early is the most important part of a return to work program. So WSIB Safety Group is a proven program to implement a return to work program with transitional duty as a tool to manage workers' compensation and disability costs. So when you join the safety group, each year you select 5 programs, and I can go through sort of what the basics behind the programs are, or what the steps are required for implementation. But return to work is one of the ones that you'll start off just picking kind of a basic program, and then you're going to build upon it, and you're ensuring that you're meeting your compliance requirements, but then also improving your bottom line with your business because you've got that effective program in place. So when you have an injury illness management program, you are building a solid return to work program, and companies that have a good program in place are able to reduce rates by up to 20%. So, if you've got an injury frequency severity rate that's quite high, if you put a program in place, you're going to see reductions in that. So you will learn to improve accident investigation procedures, identify and eliminate workplace hazards, and improve return to work protocols. This is all as part of being members of the safety group. I apologize. You will enhance occupational health and safety. So you'll have an injury and illness prevention program, is essentially really your health and safety program. Prevention is the best risk management tool. I'm so sorry. Building a safe workplace and earn our WSIB rebates. So the benefit of joining a WSIB safety group program is, one, you're building that foundation. You're building your health and safety program. But in addition to that, you're also earning rebates. So the premiums that you pay in, there's a potential that you would get a rebate up to 5% of your WSIB premiums. So the safety group program really just helps employers manage and integrate health and safety into their current management systems. So Sometimes you don't have a formal system that might be registered to an ISO standard, but you still have some type of process management system in place. So what this does and what Safety Group does is it allows you to take those health and safety components and build those into your existing system. The program includes a structured learning and networking approach for sustainable results. So key to Safety Group is networking. It's learning from your other like businesses, the benefits. I'm so sorry, I'm having a little bit of a coughing fit here. It's a 5-year program that runs on a calendar year. And after 5 years, successful firms will have a health and safety program with 25 complete elements aligned with your workplace needs and legislation. It's a voluntary program. And it offers a financial incentive of up to 5% of your WSIB premium. So essentially you come to 3 meetings a year. The rebate program is over and above any rebate or surcharges that you earn through your experience rating programs. So the Safety Group rebate is separate than the premiums that you pay in. So there are 5 steps to the implementation. One is you create a written standard or review your existing one. You communicate the programs that you're working on, conduct training, do an evaluation of how effective it is, and then identify any, make improvements, and acknowledge success. So this is very similar to an idea of the plan, do, check, act model that the DEMI or ISO systems are built on. And really, Safety Group is modeled after that same approach. So the Safety Group membership benefits are you have access to health and safety resources. You receive on-site visits from EMC Safety Group representatives to provide coaching and guidance to ensure program requirements are being met. You have a community website with a wealth of resources, tools, and templates. We have a great networking system so that if you're looking for a procedure or you're looking for something, let's say you're implementing a ladder program and you say, you know what, I need help with that. You can reach out to our other Safety Group members, and then we'll have a networking or have some ideas on sample procedures that you could pull up, or even some training programs and things like that. You achieve success by pooling your resources, mentoring and sharing best practices with other manufacturers in the group, and most significantly, you can earn financial incentives up to 5% of your WSIB premiums. So with that, I apologize. You've also got a dedicated EMC Safety Group member who's sick as a dog and trying to give you a good presentation. So again, I apologize for the coughing, the hacking, and everything. But most importantly, I think it's important for you to hear from members. So with that being said, Neil, I'd like to pass it along to you. Neil is our Corporate Health and Safety Manager with Gale Force Welding and David W. Wilson Manufacturing. He's an EMC Safety Group member, and he can speak to sort of his experience with EMC Safety Group. Neil, you ready?
Hey, I am ready. I'm in the same boat as you, Kelly.
Okay.
Sort of lost my voice, but it's not.
Okay. So go ahead, Neil.
Yeah. Good morning. Hey, good morning. I am the health and safety manager for a company in Cathcart, Ontario called David W. Wilson Manufacturing. We're a machine shop in Cathcart, and then our welding facility is in Brantford, and that's where Gale Force Welding is. David W. has been a member over 10 years, and then the sister plant, Gale Force, joined about 7 years ago. And I personally heard about EMC when I came on board with the company in 2000. But our owner has had a long relationship with the group, and he strongly supports and encourages our participation in group.
Hey, Neil, Neil, can you just speak up a little bit? Thank you.
Sure.
Is that
better?
Can everybody?
Okay. Is that better?
Yes, much better. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Neil. Okay, so I can just keep
No,
going?
you could just keep
Again,
going.
Okay. So how has the processes that we've learned from this group been implemented, and has there been any challenges? When we first started doing this, we were following the HSMS audit to base our company health and safety program on. In 2017, we switched over to the WSIB work well audit process, and that was a huge challenge and bringing that on board, but it's well worth the time to use that system. And with that, there's a lot more policies and procedures that are required, but it's made our health and safety management system a lot stronger as a result and a lot more comprehensive. Engagement is a key thing for anything that you introduce into our factory, and it was critical to get buy-in from the fellows on the shop floor to what we were doing. We did that by including employees along the way, and they were involved with workplace auditing, policies and procedures, and bringing them to safety group meetings and just getting their buy-in and involvement and to make them feel a part of the process. The rebates that we get from the program basically go back to the employees. If we have a safe year work-wise, the employees get a cash bonus at Christmas. And they really look forward to this, and it helps to keep everybody working safely. So our ownership doesn't really see the money. He gives it back to the employees for being safe workers and making us a safe group. The safety group meetings are a really informative event to go to. Kelly does a great job organizing the events and bringing forth useful information for us to bring back to our workforce. This past year, there's been information from WSIB. She's had the Office of the Employer Advisor come in and have done some really good presentations. And I've brought back some good information to present to the senior leadership at our companies and to the people on the shop floor. And it's also helped me along the way, just with the knowledge that I've gotten. They are a great source for reliable information. They have recently redone their website. I wasn't very happy when they did that. It's like anything else. It takes time to get used to, but it's a lot better. It's a lot more streamlined. And they have great information to access. There's policies and procedure examples and different things like that that are really useful. If you're stuck trying to find or think of an idea to use, it's great to access. There's also emails that they send out with different information packages. They have a members need help thing that you can send. So if you have a question about different policies, I recently submitted one for emergency evacuations. I needed some input and some ideas on different things that we could implement, and that was put forth, and there was some valuable information brought back. Garrett in the office and with Michelle and Kelly out in the field, they're great to respond to any emails or phone calls. If you ever have any questions, I can't say enough about these three and the support and knowledge that they offer. We recently had the privilege of having WSIB come into our plant in Cathcart at the W. Wilson to do a validation audit. And when I first heard that we were up for an audit, I was terrified. But the support and guidance from Michelle and Kelly along the way was outstanding. On the day of the audit, Kelly was here to offer her support and answer any questions that the auditor had. And then there was a prep audit by Michelle. She came in and looked over all my notes and everything, and she was a great source and a great help along the way. I've never seen any additional fees. We have our yearly membership that we pay, and there's never been any charges for anything, which is great. There's been lots of phone calls, lots of emails asking for help and guidance, and we've never been charged for anything. And to close, again, I would highly recommend EMC to anyone that is looking to join a safety group. When I first came on board in 2015, I was skeptical of the whole process and asked why we were doing this when I started with the company. But over the course of time, I've realized what a valuable resource it is to have EMC with us as a partner in helping us with our health and safety management system. And looking back at it, I wish I had access to this group. My previous employers would have helped me along the way. And I'm glad that we're a part of the process.
Thank you very much, Neil.
And that's it. Thank you.
You did much better than I did.
Without coughing, and my voice is still there.
Brenda, would you be, so Brenda is a Human Resources Manager at AGS Automotive Systems. And so welcome, Brenda. And if you don't mind, I'll pass it over to you.
Sounds good. Everybody can hear me, I assume? The organization is a stamping organization, so we deal with bumpers, brackets, and a bit of farm tillage. They've been members of the EMC group for 2 years, but they've actually been safety group members for 4 years. And I'd like to speak a little bit about the differences that EMC provides versus some other service providers. When I came into the organization, some of the safety group program, in my opinion, hadn't been sort of I's dotted, T's crossed. The way EMC sort of runs their division. So having been with EMC, I brought them with me to this division. I've been with EMC for probably 10 plus years, and it might be more than that, and 2 other organizations that I've dealt with them. To me, the main benefits of EMC, there's 3 that sort of top the field is their meeting agendas and how they manage their meetings, and I'll talk a bit about that. There's spot audits that they do in making sure that EMC companies are supported as they go through the process, because it is a fairly lofty process, and the WSIB audit support that they give. So I'll start with their meeting agendas. To me, they prepare you at every level. So as you're walking through this program, if you've had a chance to look at it but never participated in it, it does look sort of overwhelming. But the value from this program and participating in it for your organization is insurmountable. And it's not a one-stop shop as in just your HR coordinator. It has to be spread throughout your organization to be successful. And they do a good job of sharing those processes and engaging you in that. The other thing is that the relationship between the EMC networking companies and making sure that everybody's successful in getting through the process. They do a great job of mentoring, making sure that if there's new candidates that are coming in, say first-year people, that they're put with, say, 4- and 5-year people. so that other companies who've got more experience can actually help with them, especially if they've dealt with the topics that they've selected for their program. With the spot audits, I've had, like I said, previous experience with other agencies that didn't perform this task. And I think that's what one of the main success pieces is for EMC, is having their staff come out and do the spot audits just to make sure that the company and the firm are sort of on the right track. Like I said, you can sort of look at this document and see, oh, I got it, I thought it was phased, and then you realize, oh, shucks, I forgot to dot an I, and I don't have a corresponding backup document for that. So they make sure that they drive that importance with making sure that you've got all your paperwork, but they also drive the importance with your company shareholders. They're available to have meetings, but if you're struggling in an area where you're trying to get your implementation pushed through and maybe not everybody's cooperating as much as you're hoping for, they're there to do a quick PowerPoint presentation to bring home those values again and drive that importance, which sometimes from an outside source helps rather than you feeling alone on the island. The other item, they do suggest improvements. So if you've got any prior audits or any paperwork that you've done internally, they might be able to show you that there's some gaps and to close those gaps. And the last item was with the WSIB audit support themselves. I did have the benefit of having WSIB come and audit at this facility as well as a previous facility, and the support that EMC offers, like Neil said, it's a little terrifying to know somebody's coming in to look at your health and safety program and to do a deep dive. You always think you're doing okay, but there's always that nervous element. So Michelle and Kelly did come out to the organization here at AGS, and as Neil had sort of alluded to, they took a look at all of our resources that we had prior to the audit to ensure that we were going to be successful and if there were any gaps to support us in closing those. And then the support on the day of, EMC being here, as you're walking through the process with the WSIB auditor, sometimes, like I said, you can be a bit nervous, so maybe you're not totally on your A game, but having done that with Michelle and Kelly ahead of time, when you're not nervous, they're able to bring back some of those items for you so that you're kind of keeping on track. So if selected, like I said, for an audit, EMC is extremely diligent in ensuring that they have the full support prior to. They review all 5 of your elements to make sure that they're conducted appropriately. They'll do a written report back to you, providing you for improvements in closing those gaps, and then they attend the audit as well to make sure that you're there and being supported. One of the things I can say is that I believe EMC is one of the best resources that I've ever had, to be honest, not just with Safety Group, but as a member as a whole. Just practices and procedures that they can link you to with other companies within the area or the region. If EMC is looking for information, they'll be sure and reach out to make sure that the members get that support and guidance they have if they don't have it readily at their fingertips. And Garrett's fantastic. He answers, in my opinion, all emails like practically within an hour of me sending them. I don't want to set the bar too high, but he does a great job of making sure that communication and that connection's there. They have a very dedicated and knowledgeable staff. But using, like I said, I don't want to reiterate other groups, but I've had some very poor experiences outside of the EMC circle with regards to the Safety Group, and just can't express how the value for the money is definitely dead on. Some flexibility that they have as well for enhancing your current program, like Neil had spoke to, they sort of shifted programs and went to work well from what they had previously been looking at. But if you've got an in-house system, maybe you're driven through a corporate organization and you're wondering, well, how is this going to match and marry with what I've got? You're able to bring that flexibility to the program, and you're not asked to reinvent the wheel and put things all back to sort of square one. It allows all parties in your workplace to participate because, again, it's not one-stop shopping at the health, safety, or HR person's door. The rebate does allow for the company to put more resources towards the safety plan. I'll have to admit it's not really been a driving force for the reasons why I participate in the program. It's more to have a robust foundation for our health and safety programs. And the other item, the last item, is just that they also ensure that you're up to date on all legislative compliance. So if anything new is coming down the pipe, they're sure to tie that in with your next Safety Group meeting so that everybody knows that it's coming and can get prepared, and then they can network to make sure that we're all successful on whatever that compliance element is. And Kelly, I thank you for your dedication.
Oh, thank you very much, Brenda.
Choking and spitting and sputtering to get
So,
again, the dedication.
On this slide, you can see Neil and Brenda's contact information. I'm sure that if you have questions that you'd like to ask them directly, sort of outside of this webinar, that they'd be more than happy to speak to you about, you know, a safety group experience or EMC experience. But in the meantime, if anybody has any questions right now, you could certainly use the chat line and we could address those. So really, I guess, you know, you've heard the testimonials. You can see the benefits of putting an injury management or health and safety program in place for your organization. So the cost to join the EMC Safety Group, if you're an EMC a member, it's $795. And for non-members, it's $1,295. But really, I think when you look at, you know, the benefits of becoming a member and having those resources available to you, and from a safety perspective, you already have to do this. It's the law that you put this stuff in place anyway. And really, the safety group just really manages that through a structured approach. It helps you bite off that, you know, that big piece of cake one little bite at a time and help just build the foundation. I always kind of use the analogy of a house. You're building the house and you're going to build sort of the concrete pad, and then you're going to put the studs up, and then, you know, the roof and the trusses. So sorry, eventually each company is going to have their own internal finishes, but the outside looks the same. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask them now. Garrett, is there anything that you would like to add, or Neil or Brenda?
I'm good. Like I said, anybody wanting to reach out, want to talk specifically about some of the challenges that they feel, or if they're looking at the safety group information, by all means, contact me via email, and I'd be more than happy to help out.
Great, thank you so much. So the meeting schedule typically for 2019, we usually do meetings in January, and then we'll do meetings in April, again in September, and then the last one is scheduled in November. So thank you all. Again, my sincerest apologies for coughing in your ear and, you know, having to listen to my scratchy voice and everything else, but you certainly can contact me if you have any questions. You can contact Garrett. You've got Neil and Brenda as well, but I really appreciate you joining, and take care. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Kelly.